can you say something now that can speak for tomorrow or next month or next year? Is there something you can say now that you can speak for tomorrow, next month, next year? Is it something you can say, like just the words of it, or is it an emotion or an emotional state, or is it a sort of like a state of determination, or what is it that you can say now that at any time I poke you in your back, I'll find you present? Because only that one who really has fallen inside themselves in a real way, and who has come to that place which is the immutable place, you'll find that kind of constancy. Wherever there's a person, it will not be constant. It will be, sometimes the mood might seem so strong. Actually, that's not completely true, because there's no such thing as only the person. Only the person is only an indication that consciousness is already here. But the narcotics of the being is to be this I, me. Because when it's in that state, it by itself will not easily remember the self. It can feel, as often it does in other situations, you move and the context of change and the feeling has changed, and that is perfectly fine. But that thing which does not change, that is a significant recognition. I am not saying in every case it will be like that, because there are some beings for whom it is deeply confirmed inside themselves that for them there is not really another option. If you've come to that optionless stage, then already I feel your life is called auspicious. It means that there's no sense of turning back. Eventually there'll be no sense of even going forward, because you have arrived in your own stillness. And this is why, for me, it feels a quiet urgency to get you established in that, which is unfluctuating, to get that. It's not a mental conviction, an intellectual conviction. It is something that altogether burns away the influence of mind in its psychological expression, to transcend the hypnosis of conditioning, to be back in a natural state. And that natural state is not elsewhere, it is never elsewhere. And for me, always this voice is there. Sometimes we seem out of its radar operation, because we are so fixated on our bodily existence or on the things of this world. But that ancient one is always there. That pulse is always a calling. And gradually it comes a point where it is just, in every direction you turn, it is going to be there. It is not enough to just be in the mode of exercise, practice. Sometimes one has to be still and quiet and get accustomed to introverting the attention, introverting the mind, immersing the mind in art energy, and to know that difference, to know the orientation, the vibration of that, so that you are beyond doubt, because no doubt is there. There's no doubt in the self. There's not even conviction in the self. It is so pure. So there is this kind of metaphor, an analogy or something, which is like this thing we were talking about the other day of sometimes you put iron in a fire and it's there long enough that if you pull it out, the iron acts as fire. It can set a whole forest aflame. But gradually it loses its heat, its power, and comes again back to metal. For a while our mind is like that. If we are trying to get things with the mind, it's like that. It will not hold the power. Even the sattvic mind, it will not hold the power. It will hold the power for longer than the mind in a Rajasic state or something. But gradually one goes beyond these states into that pure space of being. If our mind is physicalized, there will seem like there's this world and other worlds beyond in time and space. But as we become more introverted into the place fixed inside the consciousness, you will see that if there are worlds as layers within consciousness, that there's no spatial measurement, no physical measurement between self and I. It is only that very subtle comprehending. So, in any case, you will go through sometimes waves where the feeling of just being totally present is there, and then it will feel like it's again substituted for another state will come. Here I'm telling you always, states come and go. Be in that stateless state where comings and goings become irrelevant. Not out of determination, but out of real seeing. These states of mind can be so much that you get a little bit enveloped in that state, and then it's like you go into this room and that world opens up and you're inside that kind of software, and you cannot think outside of the box. You see? It's like a box. You cannot think outside of the box. And something just has to jerk you out. Not even that it jerks you out, because you're not really in. Yet an aspect of your attention is there, so effectively and experientially you're in the box. And life is experience. As soon as one again is confirmed in the state of the imageless witness, everything falls. The power of the mind in that aspect, it's exhausted. As I said earlier, the mind cannot intimidate the self. It can only intimidate the self when the self somehow dreams itself to be a person. I believe it's flesh and blood and form, name, identity. Then that's the sort of soil that the seeds or the weeds of the mind can grow in that space. So the most direct teaching is just to push you back into your correct position of seeing. Because when you're in the position of that identity, it feels real. What you're talking, it's me. It's like it's flowing in your veins. So it's like, how real can it be? I mean, it's in your veins, it's in your breath, it's take on this persona almost. So this reminding is good. Doesn't have to be always jerky. Quietly seeping in into that mental state. When you say I, remember I is pure consciousness. If you speak with this feeling, I is consciousness. Because we give it to the mind and the mind turns it into a person. If you know that when you say I, think of consciousness. If any situation come that you find challenging, if you meet it as a person, taste and feel that flavor of meeting any apparent crisis or situation or issue as a person, taking it personally. Now change I from person to just presence and feel the difference. Immediately you can do this, and you'll see how much power one loses, so to speak, how much you fragment your energy by being a person. This is why yesterday I was saying it takes tremendous energy to be a person. It takes no energy to be the self. Okay, thank you. Om Namah Shivaya. Shivaya, 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 Namah. Om Namah Shivaya.